While comparison operators are good at comparing values, logical operators allow us to compare booleans. This becomes very useful when comparing two or more different value comparisons. So for example, say we had a sphere in Dynamo and we wanted to check if the sphere's radius was above a certain number, but also positioned above a particular z value. We could check both of these conditions at once to see if they were either both true or both false using logical operators. So let's start by having a look at the AND operator. AND operators are useful if you want to check if two Boolean operations or Booleans are true. Say for example we had two operations. 2 is greater than 1 and 1 is less than 5. As we have learnt, both of these operations will equal to true. If we compare these two operations, we're essentially comparing true and true, as both are equal to true. And therefore, the result will equal true, as when comparing two Booleans with the AND operator, two trues will result in a true. However, if one of the operations becomes false, for example 1 greater than 5, which equals false, this Boolean comparison changes to true and false, and this would therefore equal false. When comparing two Booleans using the AND operator, this will always evaluate to false unless we are comparing two true values. I currently have the Dynamo exercise file open for this video. You can see on the graph that we currently have a sphere that has been created 8 units in the z-axis. We can see the geometry by changing the script to automatic. Let's use this sphere to explore logical operators. Go ahead and input the sphere into input 0 on the Python script and open it up. Let's use the AND operator to compare the location and center point of the radius of the sphere by navigating in the Dynamo menu to Geometry and then Solids and Sphere. We can see that we can retrieve the location center point and the radius attributes directly from the sphere. So let's access these in our Python script. To start, let's retrieve the incoming sphere and assign it to the variable sphere, which will be at port 0. Then let's create two variables, sCenter and sRadius, which will store the center point and radius of the sphere. So sCenter equals sphere dot center point and sRadius equals sphere dot radius. Now to use the AND operator, let's create a logical operation by checking if the sphere center point z value is above 0 and also whether the radius is less than or equal to 1. To use the AND operator, we simply separate the two operations with the keyword AND. So let's try this and assign it to the variable check. So sCenter dot z greater than 0 and sRadius less than or equal to 1. So what we are doing is checking the two comparison operations and then comparing the result using the AND keyword. If both are true, check should equal true, and if not, it will equal false. Let's output check and see what we get. And the result we get is false. This is because the radius is not less than or equal to 1, and therefore this operation is evaluating to false, causing the AND operation to return false. If we change the radius to 1, for example in Dynamo, let's change this slider to 1, you can see that the Python script now returns true, as both operations are returning true. Now let's have a look at the OR operator. OR operators are useful if we want to check if two Booleans are false. Say for example we had two operations, 3 greater than 6 and 8 less than 2. Both of these operations would equate to false. If we compare these two operations with an OR operator, we are comparing false or false, as they would both equal false. With the OR operator, this would equal to false. However, if one of the operations became true, for example 8 greater than 2, and the Boolean expression changes to false or true, This would therefore equal true. When comparing two booleans, the OR operator will always evaluate to true, unless both booleans on either side are false. So let's try the OR operator in Python. Go ahead and open up the Python script again. And let's start by creating another check variable. And let's check if the sphere center is less than 6 or the sphere radius does not equal 1. So check equals scenter dot z less than 6 or sradius does not equal 1. With this operation, we know that the center is not less than 6. It's actually 8, so this will be false. And the radius is 1, so this will also be false, meaning the OR operator should return a false. Let's hit run to see. Great, so we get false. We can get a true result by changing the radius from 1, as then one of the operations will be true, meaning the OR operation returns true. So in Dynamo, let's change this radius slider up to 2. And you can see we now get true. A good way to remember these are to associate AND with false and OR with true. False will always dominate an AND operation, and true will always dominate an OR operation. There is one other logical operator that we can use, and this is the NOT operator. The NOT operator will simply reverse a boolean. For example, let's assign to check sradius does not equal 1. We know that this will result in true. We can see this by hitting run. By putting a NOT in front of this operation, the true will be reversed, meaning this operation as a whole will equal false. So NOT true equals false. We can combine several AND, OR, and NOT operators to filter through data and find specific information we are after. Understandably, this is useful for checking multiple operations at once.